Hi, welcome to the second year, third semester. Congratulations to all of you for being entering into the third semester. So, just like first semester and second semester, in third semester also, you are going to study one botany paper, and the title of the botany paper is Plant Taxonomy and Embryology. So, in third semester, you are going to learn and study about the aspects and components of the taxonomy and also about the embryology concepts. So in the out of 5 units, 4 units are of taxonomy and the last unit is about the embryology. So in the taxonomy you are going to study about the aspects and components of the taxonomy, what is taxonomy, and then the significance of taxonomy, and also about the classifications, different types of classifications like natural classification and artificial classification and phylogenetic classification. That is about the different types of classifications, and also you are going to study about some families in detail, and then the last one is about the embryological concepts. So we'll go into the first unit and we'll start the first topic, that is about the fundamental components of taxonomy. Fundamental components means this is the basic introductory concept about the taxonomy. So all the introductory points and the basic points will be there in this taxonomy. So this is the important topic in the first unit. So that is the fundamental components of taxonomy. So I think you are seeing the slides clearly, and also you are hearing me clearly, and you might have already I have given you the syllabus and you might have already have the idea about the syllabus of the third paper in third semester. So first we will see. So I think you are seeing this slide here. Here in this slide there is the definition of taxonomy, means what is taxonomy and how it will be defined. So taxonomy means taxa means divisions, ranks, groups. So the taxonomy means, or the other name for the taxonomy, it is known as the systematics. So taxonomy and the systematics both are the same, both give the same meaning. So now we'll learn about what is exactly the systematics and what is exactly the taxonomy. So it's a study of variations in organisms. Variations means differences. So differences in organisms. So here botany means, in this we are going to study about the plants, right? So here we have to understand that organisms means plants. So study of differences in different plants, and then not only the study and not only learning about the differences in the plants, but also to classify or categorize them into groups for the better understanding. Means, so first we will study about the plant characteristics and all the characteristics, and then based on the characters of the plants, we will group the plants. We will separate the plants into individual categories. So, and then naming of the plants. So all these comes under taxonomy. Taxonomy means, so mainly three important aspects will be there in taxonomy: identification, nomenclature, and classification. So these three are the most important topics in the taxonomy. So first of all, for example, if you studied about 10 plants in your surroundings, so first you are going to, for example, you will examine how the root system will be. So in 5 plants you observe the taproot system, and in 5 plants you observe the adventitious root system. So then based on the character you observe, that is the root system, so you are going to differentiate these plants into two groups, right? So 5 plants which are having the taproot system are being kept under one group, and then the 5 plants with adventitious root system will be separated into another group. So like that, each and every character of the plant will be studied, like the root system, stem, the nature of the stem and the leaf, the venation of the leaf, the branching, the flower, the fruit, and the so many characters. So hundreds to thousands of characters will be studied. So the studies will be like morphological studies and anatomical studies or physiological studies. The studies will be different. So based on the genetic characters you can differentiate the plants. Based on the morphological characters, morphological means, but just by seeing the plants, by the appearance of the plants we can differentiate the plants, and also by observing the anatomical characters. Anatomical characters means the internal structure of the plants. So You can use any branch and we can study in any way. So but the main aspect here is differentiating the plants based on some characters, that is the taxonomy. So identifying the plant based on some characters, studying the plant characteristics, and then grouping the plant into a suitable group, placing the plant into a suitable group. So identifying the plant, and by the identification you are going to classify the plant, categorize the plant, naming the plant. So all these aspects comes under taxonomy. So now the taxonomy, when it began means it began about 300 years BC, before Christ. So the first scientist who is associated with the taxonomy is Theophrastus. He lived in the era between 370 to 285 BC. And then the Carolus Linnaeus, 1707 to 1778, he is regarded as the founder of taxonomy. He is known as the father of taxonomy till today. So who is the father of taxonomy? Carolus Linnaeus. So he lived in the era between 1707 to 1778. So who is the founder of taxonomy? So now these two are the important scientists who are concerned with taxonomy. So now moving on to the next slide. So here you are seeing the slide, you are seeing the aims and principles of taxonomy in this slide, right? So what are the aims of taxonomy and what are the principles of taxonomy? So normally the aims of the taxonomy or the principles of the taxonomy are both are the same maximum. So what are the aims means, first point, to arrange elements or taxa of plants into more systematic manner so that they can be better understood and could be used easily and more effectively. Means, so first just like I said, we are going to study the plant characters, and we are based on the plant characters of the plant we just studied. So we will arrange those plants into separate groups, separate classes and separate orders. So that is so that so that we can understood very effectively based on the plant characters. Okay, and then so after the collection of all the plants information, then we are going to arrange all that data and all that information and all the knowledge about the plants systematically. That is also the aim of taxonomy. So not only knowing about that, not only knowing about the plant, so not only gaining the knowledge, but that knowledge of the plants to be transferred to the next generation for thousands of years. Okay, so that knowledge should be stored systematically. That is also the aim of taxonomy. And then to understand the relationships about the plants. So that is the basic and important feature of the taxonomy means. So first of all, we should understand the differences. We should understand the relationships between the plants, how the plants are relatable to each other. So that is known as the phylogeny, and the genetic relationships, physiological relationships. So the relationships, so how these plants are internally related with each other, that is the third aim of the taxonomy. And then fourth aim is to indicate the distribution and also the habitat of plants on earth and their benefits, means to study about so where the particular type of plant will be present and what is the habitat of plants. So all these will be described in the taxonomy. So these are the aims and principles of taxonomy. So coming to the next slide. So this is the principles of taxonomy. So actually just now I said that three main important aspects are there in taxonomy. One is identification, second one is nomenclature, and third one is classification. So identification means, just we already know that identification, the name itself is saying that we have to identify the plant. So identify the plant on what basis? Based on some characters. So the characters will be studied, and then we are going to identify the plant. And then after identification, we are going to classify the plant. Means we are going to, based on the characters of the plant, we are going to place the plant in separate groups, suitable groups, and then giving a name to the plant. So these are the important aspects of the taxonomy. So coming to the classification, plants are arranged into groups based on similar characters. The groups are considered as categories or taxa, showing interrelationships. Taxa means group. A group is called as taxa. So groups are considered as categories or taxa. So three words are the same: group, taxa, or the categories. These three words are the same. So in a group, similar species are being kept under one group. In other way, we can say that similar characteristic plants are being kept under one category or one taxa. So these tags or groups shows again interrelationships among each other. So that is about the classification. You'll have an idea, you will get an idea when you see one classification and how it is based. So when you are going to read about the Bentham and Hooker's classification, then you get 100% idea that how the plants are being placed. Just now how I explained that based on the root system, taproot system, all the plants having the taproot system are being placed under the dicotyledons category, whereas all the plants having that adventitious root system being placed under monocotyledons category. So like that, dicots are having three main primary characters, whereas the monocots are having three main primary characters. So if the plants matches the category of the dicots, then those plants will be kept under dicots. If the plants who shows the characters of the monocots, those plants should be kept under monocots. So like this, the groups are being made. Again, the dicots are divided into classes, and the classes are divided into subclasses. Subclasses are divided into orders. Orders will be divided into families, and then into genus, and then species. So that is the classification which we'll see in the next future classes. Then you'll get the complete idea about what is classification and how the plants are being identified and how actually the plants are being classified. Okay, and then the next one is identification. So it is just the identification, identifying the plant and deriving the name of the plant. It is known as the nomenclature. Okay, already some classifications are being proposed by so many scientists. So if you are going to identify, if you observe a plant, a new plant, so then you are going to study or write about what are the plant characters you observed, and then you are going to compare that plant characters with the existing classifications, with the already existing nomenclature is there. So many books are being written on the plants already being identified. So you are going to compare your plant with the already existing nomenclature, whether that plant suits that or it is really the different individual, new plant. So that is the identification of plant, and then the naming of the plant. So the naming, providing a scientific name to the plant, so each and every part of the world will identify the plant with a same name, like you mean Oryza sativa. It is rice, right? Rice scientific name is Oryza sativa. Oryza is the genus name and sativa is the species name. And then your mango, so that's full name is Mangifera indica, right? So binomial nomenclature, the mango scientific name is Mangifera indica. So if any part of the world, in any part of the world, any country and any person can identify if you say the name Mangifera indica. Okay, so that is the name with which the whole world identifies. So that is the scientific name, providing a scientific name to the plant. So that is the nomenclature. So here the nomenclature, classification, identification. So these three are the important aspects of the taxonomy. Then describing the plant. So you already know the classification. You might have have a basic idea about the classification in the intermediate itself. So normally the taxonomic components in a plant classification, it starts with kingdom, and then the division, and then the phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. That is the normal order. So kingdom is the big group, and then the species is the basic unit of the taxonomy. So that you are going to understood as and when you study about the classifications. So different types of classifications are there. So Whittaker, a scientist named Whittaker, so he in 1969 year he classified the whole living organisms into 5 kingdoms, like Monera. So in the Monera group, bacteria, viruses, prokaryotic cells, so all these will be placed under Monera group. And then Protista, that means algae and protozoa and some eukaryotic organisms placed in Protista. And then fungi. So fungi, you already studied in the first semester about fungi and algae. So fungi are placed in the 3rd group. And then the 4th group, Plantae. Plantae means all the plants which performs the function of photosynthesis are kept under Plantae. And then the last group is the Animalia. So who ingest food. So like this, Whittaker classified all the living organisms into 5 kingdoms. And then each one, the kingdom, class, subdivision, order, family, genus, each word ends with a certain characters, certain name. So the ending name, it consisting of a certain letters. Okay, like not kingdom and genus and species. Genus, species and kingdom are, they will be individual and specific, but here normally other ones, other tags, they ends with a similar letters. Like division, suppose you take a division, division always ends with phyta, class always ends with opsida or eae, and order always ends with alis, and alis or ae letters, and family always ends with ac or ae, and subfamily always ends with oide. Okay, so like that. So all these taxa means divisions, right? So in a classification, each division is known as the taxa. So studying of the taxa is known as the taxonomy, in other words. So species is the basic unit of the taxonomy. Okay, it is a smaller unit of the taxonomy, whereas kingdom is the largest unit of the taxonomy, whereas largest taxa, whereas the species is the basic unit of the taxonomy. It is the smallest group of organisms which can be consistently differentiated using morphological characters. So species is the smallest unit of the taxonomical classification. So in which in which all the plants belonging, all the plants having maximum similar characters, 99% similar characters, all will come under the same species. Like your mango, what is the name of the mango? Mangifera indica. So Mangifera is the genus name, right? So under the genus name, so many thousands of species will be there. So indica is a species name. So under indica, all the plants are having the same characters. So that is the indica. So species are having the maximum similar characters, whereas the genus are having they can have different plants which are having different characters. So like this, species, remember that species is the basic unit of classification, and it is the smallest unit of classification, in which the organisms, whether they be plants or animals, they are having the maximum similar characters. So Homo sapiens means human being. So all human beings are basically are having 100% similar characters, right? So genetically, physiologically, so all, not genetically, so all humans look alike, and all humans function alike, and all humans anatomy will be the same, all humans physiology will be the same. So 90%, 99% characters will be the same, all will be kept in under the same group. That is the species. So as you move from species to the kingdom in an upward manner, then all then the characters difference will increase. Taxa by taxa, the characters will increase. So now coming to the classification systems, just now I told you about the Whittaker classification, and then classifications are normally three types. One is the natural system of classification, and another one is the artificial system of classification, and another one is the phylogenetic system of classification. So along with the fourth type of system is there, that is the mechanical system of classification. So coming to the natural system of classification, it is accepted by majority of the people, and it is proposed in 1760 to 1880. So by Adamson, France, De Candolle, Swiss, Bentham and Hooker, Britain. So all these scientists are related with the natural system of classification. And mechanical system of classification, the scientists associated with them are Cisalpino, Italy, Bahin, Swiss, Linnaeus and Sweden. So these are all the scientists associated with the mechanical system of classification. So what is the natural system of classification means? It's based on so many characters. The classification is being proposed based on the so many characters of the plant, whereas the mechanical system of classification, it's being based on only one or two characters. Only one or two characters that if the plants are being classified, that is known as the mechanical. And then the artificial system of classification, it is based on the growth habits of the plant. Growth habits means where actually the plant growth happens. Is it a desert plant, or is it a normal hydrophyte, or is it a xerophyte, or is it a mesophyte? So the growth habits and the conditions of the surrounding habits. So all these will be based on all these habits. Artificial system of classification will be proposed. So out of all these classifications, artificial system of classification, it is a primitive system, 300 BC to AD 1500. It is proposed by Theophrastus and Dioscorides, Greece. So these scientists belong to Greece, and mainly the artificial system of classification, it's being linked up or it's being mainly worked up by Theophrastus. And then natural system I already told you. So if you study so many characters of a plant and then if you classify the plant based on so many characters, that is known as the natural system of classification. Example, Bentham and Hooker, which you are going to study in the next classes. Next one, phylogenetic system. It is mainly the type of classification which is being mainly proposed on the based on the relationships between the characters. Means plants, how one plant is related to another plant. So based on that relationship, if a classification is being proposed, that is known as the phylogenetic system of the classification. So for example of the phylogenetic system which you are going to study in the third semester, that is the Engler and Prandtl system of classification. Engler and Prandtl, scientific, then these are the scientist names. And then who are the other scientists worked on the phylogenetic system are Bessey from America, Hutchinson from Britain, and Thorne from America. So these are all the scientists associated with the phylogenetic system. In your third semester, you are going to study one example of natural system of classification that is proposed by Bentham and Hooker, and then the second system of classification which you are going to study is the phylogenetic system which were being proposed by Engler and Prandtl. So these are the four types of classification systems. Taxa, I already told you. Taxa means the divisions. The divisions, that is the kingdom, division, class, subdivision, order, family, genus, species. So all these are known as the taxa. So Linnaeus, he is the father of the taxonomy, just now I said. So he is the person who proposed the binomial system of nomenclature. So in the binomial system of nomenclature, normally the traditional taxonomists, traditional means the old taxonomists, they normally use the Linnaean system of binomial nomenclature, and also they mainly classified the plants on the based on evolution. Means they look at the similarity. So which is the similarity between the plants, and then they classified the plants. That is the old taxonomists, they classified the plants like that, based on the similarities between the plants. And then Cronquist system. It is a widely used traditional classification system which uses monophyletic and paraphyletic groups. Monophyletic group means only one common ancestor will be there for all the descendants. That is the monophyletic group. Means for a group of plants, for example, for a group of plants, suppose 100 plants are there. If those 100 plants are being descendant or being originated from a single plant, so that type of group is known as the monophyletic group. Paraphyletic groups means, suppose if the plants are having at the same level, if the plants are having 10 or 15 parent plants, so that is known as the paraphyletic groups. So monophyletic and paraphyletic groups are different. So monophyletic group means, so only one common ancestor will be there. Paraphyletic group means common ancestor is there, but that ancestor and the descendants also comes under the paraphyletic group. So paraphyletic group, it is derived from more than one common ancestor. Monophyletic group is derived from only one common ancestor. So that is the basic difference between monophyletic ancestor and paraphyletic ancestor. And then this is a slide about the classification systems. So some types of classification, that is just now I told you about the traditional type of classification. So that traditional classification, it uses the similarities, it uses the binomial nomenclature of the Linnaeus. Whereas the recent modern type of classifications, they are not using the binomial nomenclature of Linnaeus, or they are not using any taxa. So here they are using the cell biology, and they are using the genetics, and they are using the physiology. So they are studying the physiological aspects, genetic aspects, and anatomical aspects, and then they are based on those internal studies, based on those genetical studies, physiological studies, and cell biology studies. They are being classified. They are classifying these plants into separate groups. All these modern taxonomy is different, and traditional taxonomy is different. Traditional taxonomy is normally being based on the Linnaeus type of binomial nomenclature and only studying about the morphological characters. Whereas the recent taxonomy, the modern taxonomy, it is being based on the so many other branches of the plant. Okay, and then this is about the classification system. So see here in this slide, you are going to see about the Linnaean hierarchy. That is the 10th edition of Systema Naturae, 1758. In the year 1758, so in the 10th edition of Systema Naturae, Systema Naturae is a book book, in those book, all the different types of classifications will be there. So that is the Linnaeus book. Linnaeus written the book named as Systema Naturae. So in those classifications will be there, and see how the classification looks alike. Kingdom, it is the largest unit, and under the kingdom so many classes will be there, and each class consisting of so many orders, and each order consisting of so many genera, and each genus consisting of so many species, and each species consisting of so many varieties. So in this way Linnean hierarchy is there in the 10th edition of Systema Naturae in the 1758. So in this way the first class and the plants are being classified in the initial days. And then in modern classifications, now you will see, now you are see the difference between here. How many tags are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Total 6 tags are there. So see here in the next classification, that is being in the modern classification, you are seeing so many tags are there. So like kingdom is the first, the largest tags of the classification, and under the kingdom so many phyla are there. Phylum are being divided into so many classes. So under the class so many subclasses. Subclasses are being categorized into so many infraclasses. Infraclasses are being classified into orders. Orders are being classified into suborders, and then suborders are being classified into superfamilies. In each superfamily there are so many families. In a family there are subfamilies, and under subfamily there are so many tribes. Under tribes there are so many genus, and under each genus there are so many species. Under each species there are so many subspecies. Under each subspecies consisting of so many varieties. See, so many tags are there in the modern taxonomy. Means the study is elaborate. Study is based on the so many characters in so many areas like physiology, genetics, cell biology, DNA studies. So based on all those studies, and the classification in the recent or modern classifications are completely different from the traditional classification. And common hierarchical ranks, if we see, the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Just now I said the species is the basic unit of the taxonomy. It is a very small group consisting of the plants which are having similar characters. So that is the species, which is the basic unit of the taxonomy. And the domain is the largest, and then normally the kingdom is the largest unit of taxon. And then just now I said the taxonomy is having 3 important aspects, that is the identification, nomenclature, and classification. So this slide is about the identification. Identification means identifying. So study of available literature of the group. So after identifying the plant, you have to study about the already existing literature, already existing books about the plants, and then learn the terms and relevant data used to describe a taxa of the group. So we have to learn about what are the terms used to describe the plant. Means the relevant data, how the data should be used in describing a plant. And then collection of relevant literature. So what are all the existing literature is there on the taxonomy, we should collect the literature, and then identifying the plant using the taxonomic keys. What are the taxonomic keys? Just now we have seen kingdom, class, subclass, order, family, genus. So those are all the keys. So identifying using the keys, and then comparing of identified specimen with the previous description available. Just now I said that if we observe upon plant, so we will think that it is a new plant. Okay, I haven't seen this plant anywhere. It is looking like a very brand new plant. Then we shouldn't come under the decision. First of all, we should observe the plant. We should read the characters. We should observe the characters anatomically, physiologically. We should observe all the characters, and then based on all those characters, we should study literature. So then, if these characters, what you observed, all these characters, if you compare those characters with the already existing literature, then you may come to know that okay, this plant is already being identified, and this plant is being already told and described about in the literature. Then you can identify that is the existing plant. Or if you cannot find any literature about the plant which you identified just now, so that means identification. If the identification is not, that means point means if the literature is being there or not. For that you have to read the so many literatures. You have to read the libraries. You have to you have to study the so many herbaria and the ancient literature, and then you have to come to the conclusion that if that is a new plant or a old plant. So relevant literature you should study. Okay, and then compare the specimen with the previous literature, and then identifying. So these are all the steps of identifying. గుర్తుపట్టడానికి అనమాట, గుర్తించడానికి ఆ మొక్క ఆల్రెడీ కొత్త మొక్కనా లేకపోతే నువ్వు అంతకుముందే ఈ మొక్కను ఆల్రెడీ గుర్తించారా, ఎలా దానికి ఏం చేస్తావు నువ్వు, ఆ మొక్కను ఫస్ట్ క్యారెక్టర్స్ స్టడీ చేస్తావు, తర్వాత నోట్స్లో రాసుకుంటావు ఆ క్యారెక్టర్స్ ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయో, తర్వాత లిటరేచర్ చదువుతావు. ఆ లిటరేచర్ చదివినప్పుడు ఇలాంటి క్యారెక్టర్స్ ఉండి, ఇలాంటి మొక్కే ఉండి, ఇలాంటి మొక్కకి ఒక పేరు పెట్టబడి ఉండి సేమ్ అలాగే ఉంటే ఏం చేస్తావు, నీకు అప్పుడు ఏం తెలుస్తుంది, ఓకే ఈ ప్లాంట్ ఆల్రెడీ ఐడెంటిఫై అయిపోయింది, ఈ ప్లాంట్ మీద ఆల్రెడీ లిటరేచర్ ఉంది, ఈ ప్లాంట్ మీద ఆల్రెడీ క్లాసిఫికేషన్ ఉంది, ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తాం. సో దాన్నే గుర్తించడంలో స్టెప్స్, దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ద స్టెప్స్ ఇన్ ఐడెంటిఫికేషన్. So if at all you can't able to identify, or if at all you can't able to collect the literature, then we will go and take the help of the taxonomists or the taxonomy specialists. And then you can use the internet information also. There is tremendous information of the plants on taxonomy. If you just type a plant name in the Google, then you can then so many thousands of pages will be opened in Google. So if you click on those pages, then you can get the tons of information about a specific plant. Try it out. Okay, try it out with hibiscus or your mango plant, or any plant. Type the name of the plant, just the name of the plant in Google, then you can get the thousands of pages of literature about that plant. Okay, and then the next step is the nomenclature. Nomenclature is giving a particular name to the plant. We are all having names, right? So with that name we can identify we can identify the individual. So just like that, so plants are also being given the name. So Linnaeus, he proposed a system of nomenclature, so that is known as the binomial system of nomenclature, which was proposed by Carolus Linnaeus. So the Linnaeus system of classification, it made a major impact in the world in terms of naming, diversity and organizing the information. So he actually proposed a system of nomenclature. And then ICBN, International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, and this ICBN, this is an organization. So all the plants which are available in the world, all the world plants nomenclature will be there in the ICBN. ICBN is the organization which proposes a certain set of rules, a certain set of codes and certain set of principles to name a plant. We can't name a plant just like that. So we have to follow some rules, and those rules are known as the binomial system of nomenclature. And recently in 1994, Coel Scientific Publishers and Coinstein, Germany, so International Association for Plant Taxonomy, they also proposed some rules for the nomenclature. So International Code of Nomenclature for Cultivated Plants, that is being proposed in 1980 by American Horticultural Society. So application of names is determined by nomenclatural types, and nomenclature is based upon priority of publication. First, for suppose I identified a plant and I given a name to plant following all the rules of ICBN, and then I published the information. Then again another person comes and he identifies the plant, and if he wants to name the plant, then he can't name the plant just simply like that. He again have to search for the already existing information. Suppose if any plant is being named by the same name, then suppose confusion occurs, right? So that type of names will be rejected. So no two plants are being named by a single name. So before naming a plant, we should observe all these rules, codes, publications, procedures, then only we should name a plant. So each taxonomic group can have only one correct name, which is the earliest, that is in accordance with the rules. That's what I told. First person already identified a plant and named a plant, so that name shouldn't be given to any other plants later. So that is the first publication names, all they shouldn't be used in the second publication, and in the third publication first and second publication names will not be used in the third publication. So that is the rule. So priority begins with the publication of Linnaeus Species Plantarum. So the main priority, the main book will be in the 1753, the Species Plantarum. It is the book written by Linnaeus on May 1st, 1753. He proposed a classification to the rank of family and also genus and species. So many lakhs of plant names will be there in Species Plantarum. So first of all, before going to name a plant which you identify, you have to refer the species plantarum book. And then after the so many publications which are being kept under the ICBN, International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. So you should observe and you should analyze and you should just go through all the publications, all the previous publications, and then only you have to name the plant. So the correct names of a species is the combination of the earliest published valid generic name with the, suppose one genus under Mangifera there is one genus, right? Indica is there. So suppose if you identified a new species name, a new variety of plant under that same genus Mangifera, so you can't name the plant as Indica. Why? Because already Indica species is there and Indica name is there. So you can't name the different plant, that is you can't name the different species with the same name, that is Indica. So once the name of the genus or once the name of the species is used, those names can't be repeated. The same applies to the kingdom, division, order, class. So for every taxa this rule applies. So first of all, if anyone uses the name, that same name shouldn't be used by the next person. So these are all the nomenclature rules which are being put forward by ICBN, that is the International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. So now coming to the types and nomenclature. So here the protologue is just like your dictionary, your English dictionary. How your dictionary consisting of lakhs of English words, so like that the protologue is the dictionary of plant names, dictionary of plant taxa. So all the taxon names and all the publications names all will be in the protologue. So example, Solanum americanum Miller. So this is the Gardner's dictionary. So Solanum americanum Miller. Solanum americanum Miller. This name will be is in the Gordon's dictionary, 8th part, and Solanum. So type will be cult. So all these details will be in the book by the Gardner's dictionary. So here the types of plants are there. So that is not there in your syllabus, but still I'll try to cover the types just in brief. So holotype means suppose it is the specimen or illustration used by the author or designated by him or her as the nomenclatural type. Means suppose if I am there, means if I identify any plant, if I identify a new plant, and if I identify a new plant and then if I name that plant, means the identified plant is being there with me, and directly I name that plant is known as the holotype. So author, I am the author, and the original plant material also with me, and the original identified person is also me, and I am the original identified person, and the original plant material which I identified is also there with me. So if I name that plant, that plant is known as that type is known as the holotype. Means the original author, original plant material, original name. So that is the holotype of the plant. That name is called as, that plant is called as the holotype. So lectotype. Next one is the lectotype. So lectotype is the, if holotype is not there. Suppose for example I identified a plant. So identified a plant, but the identified plant is not there. So then I didn't given any name to that plant, but the material is not there with me right now. The original material is not there with me. Then I go again into the forest and again I collect and collected another plant. Means the same plant like the first plant, but this is the different plant, right? This is the different plant. Different means that is the first type of plant. అంటే ఫస్ట్ నేను ఏం చేశాను, ఒక మొక్కని తీసుకున్నాను. ఇందాక చెప్పాను హోలోటైప్ అంటే ఏంటి, నేను డైరెక్ట్గా ఒక మొక్కని తీసుకుని నేనే ఐడెంటిఫై చేశాను, ఆ మొక్కని నేనే గుర్తించాను, కొత్త మొక్కని. ఆథర్ ఎవరు, నేను. ఓనర్ ఎవరు, నేను. సో ఓనర్ కొత్త మొక్కని, అంటే ఓనర్ నేను గుర్తించిన మొక్క, ఒరిజినల్ మొక్క నాతోనే ఉంది. సో ఒరిజినల్గా ఒరిజినల్ మొక్కని గుర్తుపట్టడాన్ని హోలోటైప్ అంటారు. అలాంటి మొక్కని హోలోటైప్ అంటారు. తర్వాత సెకండ్ కేసులో ఏమవుతుంది, నేను లెక్టోటైప్ అంటే ఏంటి, నేను ఒరిజినల్ ఓనర్ని గుర్తుపట్టినంటే ఆ మొక్కని ఐడెంటిఫై చేసింది నేనే, కానీ ఐడెంటిఫై చేసిన మొక్క నా దగ్గర లేదు, పోయింది, నేను ఇంకా పేరు పెట్టలేదు. అలాంటప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తాను, మళ్ళీ నేను వేరే అక్కడికే ఆ ప్లేస్కే వెళ్ళి అలాంటి మొక్కనే మళ్ళీ నేను ఐడెంటిఫై చేసుకొని తీసుకొచ్చి దానికి పేరు పెట్టాను అనుకోండి, అదేమవుతుంది, లెక్టోటైప్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే. అండ్ దెన్ ఐసోటైప్ మీన్స్ హోలోటైప్కి డూప్లికేట్ అనమాట. అంటే ఏంటంటే సపోజ్ నేను ఒకేసారి నేను ఫస్ట్ వెళ్ళినప్పుడు ఒక మొక్కనే తీసుకురాకుండా ప్లక్ చేయకుండా అలాంటి మొక్కలు ఒక 10 తీసుకొచ్చాను అనుకోండి. 10 తీసుకొచ్చినప్పుడు నా దగ్గర ఒరిజినల్ మెటీరియల్కి ఒరిజినల్గా ఫస్ట్ టైప్ ఒకటో మొక్క ఏదైతే ఉందో ఆ మొక్కను ఆధారంగా పేరు పెట్టాలనుకున్నాను, కానీ ఆ మొక్క పోయింది. అది పోయినప్పుడు నేను ఏం చేస్తానంటే రెండో మొక్కతో నా క్లాసిఫికేషను, నా పబ్లికేషన్ అంతా ఇస్తాను. అంటే ఏంటంటే అక్కడ మొదటి మొక్క లేదు, కానీ ఒకేసారి నేను ప్లక్ చేశాను. ఇందాక చెప్పిన దానికి ఏంటి డిఫరెన్సు? లెక్టోటైప్ ఏమైంది, ఆల్రెడీ మొక్క పోయిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ నేను వెళ్ళి ఇంకోసారి తీసుకొని వచ్చాను. ఐసోటైప్లో ఏమవుతుంది, ఒకేసారి నేను 10 మొక్కలు తీసుకొచ్చుకున్నాను. 10 మొక్కల్లో ఒకటో మొక్క నాకు లేదు కాబట్టి రెండో మొక్క ఆధారంగా నేను డిస్క్రైబ్ చేసుకున్నాను. సో అదేంటి, ఆ మొక్కను ఏమంటారు? ఐసోటైప్ అంటారు. నెక్స్ట్, ఐసోటైప్ is a duplicate of the holotype. So it's always a specimen. Syntype. So it is any one of 2 or more specimens cited by the author when no holotype was designated, or any of one or two more specimens simultaneously designated as types. Syntype ki isotype ki పెద్ద difference ఏం లేదు. So syntype means the same thing. So you are plucking the plants of the same type. 4 or 5 plants ఒకేసారి తీసుకొచ్చావు. ఆ 4 or 5 ప్లాంట్స్లో నీకు ఒక ప్లాంట్, ఒరిజినల్ ప్లాంట్ అనేది పోయింది. అంటే ఒరిజినల్ ప్లాంట్తోనే నువ్వు నామిన్క్లేచర్ ఇచ్చావు, కానీ నామిన్క్లేచర్ ఇచ్చిన తర్వాత నీకు ఆ లైబ్రరీలో ఒరిజినల్ ప్లాంట్ అనేది నశించిపోయింది, డిస్ట్రాయ్ అయిపోయింది. అప్పుడు ఆ ప్లేస్లో నువ్వేం చేస్తావంటే అంతకుముందు ఆల్రెడీ ఒకేసారి తెచ్చిన ప్లాంట్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా, ఆ ప్లాంట్స్లో నుంచి 3వ దాన్నో 4వ దాన్నో తీసుకొచ్చి ఆ ఒరిజినల్గా పెట్టిన దాంట్లో పెడతాం అన్నమాట. సో దానికి ఏమవుతుంది, సింటైప్ అవుతుంది. సో నెక్స్ట్, పారాటైప్. పారాటైప్ ఈజ్ ఎ స్పెసిమన్ ఆర్ ఇలస్ట్రేషన్ cited in the protolog. Protolog means ఏం చెప్పాను, దాన్ని ఒక లైబ్రరీ అని చెప్పాను, ఇట్స్ ఎ టైప్ ఆఫ్ డిక్షనరీ. సో ఈ పారాటైప్, దిస్ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఎ హోలోటైప్ నార్ అన్ ఐసోటైప్. హోలోటైపు కాదు, ఐసోటైపు కాదు, ఓకే, సింటైప్ కూడా కాదు. సో ఇదేంటంటే పారాటైప్ అనేది ఒకేసారి ఒక 2 రకాల మొక్కలు ఒకేసారి గుర్తించగలిగి ఆ 2 రకాల మొక్కల్ని స్వల్ప తేడాలు ఉంటాయన్నమాట. అంటే సపోజ్ నేను వెళ్ళాను, ఒక మొక్కని తీసుకొచ్చాను, అట్లానే పక్కనే ఇంకో మొక్క ఉంది, అది 99% ఆఫ్ క్యారెక్టర్స్ కలిగి ఉంది, సేమ్ టు సేమ్. సో దాన్ని 99.9% సిమిలర్ క్యారెక్టర్స్ ఉంది, బట్ స్లైట్ ఏదో చిన్న డిఫరెన్స్ ఏదో ఉంది. సో దాన్ని పారాటైప్ అంటాం. అంటే సపోజ్ ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు తెచ్చుకున్న మొక్కలన్నింటిలోనూ ఒరిజినల్ మొక్కలన్నీ 10 అయిపోయినాయి అనుకోండి, అప్పుడు వేరే రకమైన మొక్కను కూడా నువ్వు ప్లక్ చేసి సేమ్గా ఉంది, సో దాన్ని ఏమంటామంటే పారాటైప్ అంటాం. జస్ట్ అంటే ఎందుకు అంటే దీన్ని ఉపయోగించుకుంటామంటే పారాటైప్ని, బికాస్ దిస్ పారాటైప్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో హ్యావింగ్ సిమిలర్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ ఆఫ్ ద ఒరిజినల్ ఐసోటైప్ ఆర్ ఒరిజినల్ లెక్టోటైప్. ఓకే, సో ముందు నువ్వు ఒరిజినల్గా ఏవైతే మొక్కను తీసుకొచ్చావో అలాంటి మొక్కకి సంబంధించిన సేమ్ క్యారెక్టర్స్ ఉంది కాబట్టి, సో నువ్వు దీని పారాటైప్ని, నియోటైప్ని వీటిని వాడతావు. నియోటైప్ అంటే ఏంటంటే, నియోటైప్ అనే మొక్కకి నియోటైప్ అంటే ఏంటంటే ఇవి టైప్స్ అనేది ఏదైతే చెప్తున్నామో ఈ టైప్స్ అనేవి ముఖ్యంగా మీ సిలబస్లో అయితే లేవు, బట్ స్టిల్ ఐఎమ్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయినింగ్ అబౌట్ ద టైప్స్. సో నేమ్స్ అన్నీ పారాటైప్, లెక్టోటైప్, ఐసోటైప్, హోలోటైప్. నియోటైప్ అంటే ఏంటంటే కంప్లీట్గా న్యూ టైప్. న్యూ టైప్ అంటే కంప్లీట్లీ న్యూ. నియో మీన్స్ న్యూ. So it's a specimen or illustration cited in the protolog. Protolog means a library. So it's selected to serve as a nomenclatural type as long as all of the material on which the name of the taxon was based is missing. అంటే నువ్వు ఒక మొక్కను తీసుకొని వచ్చావు, ఆల్రెడీ నువ్వు దానికి నామెన్క్లేచర్ ఇచ్చావు, క్లాసిఫికేషన్ ఇచ్చావు, సో నువ్వు అంతా డిస్క్రైబ్ చేసుకున్నావు. డిస్క్రైబ్ చేసుకున్న తర్వాత చాలా సంవత్సరాలు ఆ నామెన్క్లేచరు, ఆ పబ్లికేషన్స్, ఆ డిస్క్రిప్షన్ అంతా ఉంది, కానీ చాలా సంవత్సరాల తర్వాత, హండ్రెడ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇయర్స్ తర్వాత ఆ మొక్కకి సంబంధించిన ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ మొత్తం పూర్తిగా పోయింది. ఆ మొక్కే కాదు, ఆ ప్లాంటే కాదు, ఆ ప్లాంట్కి సంబంధించిన ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ కూడా పూర్తిగా పోతే అప్పుడు నువ్వు కొత్తగా మళ్ళీ అలాంటి మొక్కని, అంటే తర్వాత తరాల వాళ్ళల్లో ఎవరైనా కొత్తగా వెళ్ళి మళ్ళీ ఆ పూర్వపు మొక్కని కనుక తీసుకొని వస్తే దాన్ని నియోటైప్ అంటాం. సేమ్ మొక్క అనమాట, సేమ్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ ప్లాంట్ తీసుకొని వస్తే దాన్ని నియోటైప్ అంటాం. సో దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ద డిఫరెంట్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ ప్లాంట్స్. సో ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ టాక్సానమీ. అంటే ఈ టాక్సానమీ వల్ల, వర్గీకరణ శాస్త్రం వల్ల ఇంపార్టెంట్, దాని యొక్క ప్రాముఖ్యత ఏంటి, టాక్సానమీ యొక్క సిగ్నిఫికెన్స్ ఏంటి అంటే, సో బయోడైవర్సిటీ అంటే నువ్వు ఎన్ని రకాల ఇంపార్టెంట్ ప్లాంట్స్ని నువ్వు చూసుకున్నావో, అంటే ఎన్ని రకాల ప్లాంట్స్ని నువ్వు ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తే అంత నీకు ఏంటంటే ప్రాముఖ్యత అనేది పెరుగుతుంది, సిగ్నిఫికెన్స్ అనేది ఉంటుంది. సో జీవ వైవిధ్యం అనేది ప్రాముఖ్యత అనేది పెరుగుతుంది అన్నమాట. సో టాక్సానమీ అంటే థౌజండ్స్ ఆఫ్ ప్లాంట్స్ని ఐడెంటిఫై చేయటం, నామెన్క్లేచర్, క్లాసిఫికేషన్ ఇదంతా కదా. సో దీనివల్ల ఏంటంటే బయోడైవర్సిటీ జీవ వైవిధ్యం ప్రాముఖ్యత అనేది పెరుగుతుంది. సో రీసెర్చ్ స్టడీస్ సిగ్నిఫికెన్స్ బాగా పెరుగుతుంది. సో ఎన్ని రకాల మొక్కలు ఉంటే అంత రీసెర్చ్ పెరుగుతుంది. సో నీకు ఇఫ్ యూ నో అబౌట్ ద సో మచ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అబౌట్ ద ప్లాంట్స్, సో ఆల్ దట్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ విల్ బి యూజ్డ్ ఇన్ ద మెడిసిన్. సో దట్ విల్ బి యూజ్డ్ ఇన్ ద అగ్రికల్చర్ అండ్ పెస్ట్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ స్టడీస్. సో టాక్సానమీ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ విల్ బి యూజ్డ్ ఇన్ ద ఐడెంటిఫికేషన్ ఆఫ్ పెస్ట్, చీడలు తెగుళ్ళు వీటికి. ఇట్స్ యూజ్డ్ ఇన్ ద ఐడెంటిఫికేషన్ ఆఫ్ న్యాచురల్ ఎనిమీస్. It's used in the identification and conservation of plants, understanding the evolutionary and phylogenetic relations between the plants. So for all these aspects, the taxonomy will be used in the biodiversity studies, in the research and studies, in the medicine. Taxonomical studies will be used in medicine. So yeah, students, sorry for the disturbance, our problem. So this is the last slide, guys. So this is about the importance of the taxonomy. So taxonomy importance ఏంటి, what is the significance of taxonomy? సో బయోడైవర్సిటీ అంటే జీవ వైవిధ్యం. సో నీకు ఎన్ని హండ్రెడ్స్ అండ్ థౌజండ్స్ ఆఫ్ ప్లాంట్స్ ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తే అంత వైవిధ్యం అంటే అంత దట్ విల్ బి యూస్ఫుల్, రైట్, ఫర్ స్టడీయింగ్ ద డైవర్సిటీ. So if the taxonomical studies are more, then automatically that will be very useful for biodiversity. And then in last 2.5 century, only 1 million animals and 0.5 million plants identified. So 2.5 centuries lo means 250 years. In last 250 years, 1 million animals and 0.5 million plants identified. So this forms 10% of the world organisms. So taxonomical studies, they will be on the base of research studies and they will be used in medicine. Taxonomy studies, suppose if you identify the plant characters and if you study the plant characters in detail, and those studies will be useful in medicine, and your taxonomical studies will be useful in the agriculture and pest management, and then they will be used in the identification of pests, and they will be used in the identification of natural enemies for the plants, and these are all the points will be used in the agriculture. And then conservation of plants, suppose if the plants are being very useful plants, and if you already know about the plant characters and how they are being used in different areas, so then we are going to conserve the plants. And then understanding the evolutionary and phylogenetic relations between plants. So taxonomy also helps in understanding the evolutionary studies and also the phylogenetic studies. Phylogenetic means relationship studies between the plants. So that is the significance of the taxonomy. So that's all, guys. This is about the fundamental concepts of taxonomy, fundamental components of taxonomy, and this is the introduction lesson about the taxonomy, and in the first unit. And this question was asked in several exams for 5 marks. Fundamental components of taxonomy. Okay. Thank you, guys. You go through this PPT 2 to 3 times, and then try to write what are the important points, and note down the points, and prepare the notes from this PPT. Okay, all the best.